Hello everyone, this is the Interactive Advanced Concept Presentation 8 involving kinetic sand. So kinetic sand is a polymer, which is a massive chain of repeating organic units called monomers. Now a super common monomer that we often see is ethene, which is two carbons double bonded to each other, and the polymer of ethene is polyethylene. Now, when more carbons join these bonds, the double bonds in the ethene are broken to allow room for a second carbon to bond on either side. Despite this, polyethylene still keeps its ene suffix. I believe just for naming purposes, but it still does not have any double bonds. Polymers can be synthetic or natural. They exist in nature. DNA is a polymer. Cellulose, wool are all polymers. And then polyethylene, a synthetic polymer, is actually the most common plastic in the world. Another polymer is Teflon. We can see in a lot of cookware. So there can be many different goals of polymers. We can create polymers to be really strong, or we want them to be recyclable or extra stretchy. So depending on the goal of a synthetic polymer, they can be made to kind of fit these certain attributes. So today we made kinetic sand, and we made it with sand, dish soap, cornstarch, and a little bit of water. I actually didn't use water. I used cornstarch mixed with dish soap, and I added that to the sand. Another method in the video that was given to us used dish soap mixed with some water, but I did not use that method. Store-bought kinetic sand, however, uses the polymer polydimethyl siloxane. And the monomer of that is dichloromethylsilane. The polymer is created when those chlorine atoms in the dichloromethylsilane are replaced with hydroxyl groups, and this occurs through a hydrolysis reaction. So in the kinetic sand that I made today, I started, like the video described, with a few tablespoons of cornstarch in a bowl, and to that I added some dish soap and mixed that all up to get sort of a slimy texture. I then added that to a bowl of the sand and just tried to mix that all in to get this kinetic sand kind of fall apart material where it isn't messy. It can be cleaned up very easily. The kinetic sand I made, though, seemed to be a little bit too wet. I think, maybe I added a little bit too much dish soap. I think where I made my error was once I added the mixture of cornstarch and dish soap into the sand and started mixing it, I realized it was a little bit too dry, and so I added more dish soap and added dish soap as needed to create the consistency I was looking for. However, it never reached that true desired consistency I was looking for, and instead it just became a little bit too wet. What I think I should have done, and what I would advise for a second experiment would be if the kinetic sand seems to be too dry, instead of adding more dish soap just to try and get that wetter consistency, what I think would be more advisable would be to, in a separate bowl, create another mixture of the cornstarch and the dish soap, and then add to that as needed, add to the sand to and mix that as needed, because I believe the cornstarch adds a layer of, it brings it together, and it creates kind of this, it kind of creates the ability to have it not be so messy, and it won't fall apart as much. As you can see in the video that I created, by the end, the sand really just seemed kind of wet, and although I could kind of pack it together, it did stick to my fingers and it would stick to the sides of the bowl, so it wasn't totally the outcome I was looking for. All right, thanks.